Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Let the record show that the meeting was properly advertised and all board members are present tonight. There was also a working session prior. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. All right, we'd like to offer public comment now and at the end of all of our meetings. So we will go ahead and open if anyone has public comment tonight. If not, we'll ask again at the end of the meeting. All right, first item tonight is approval of our minutes from the February 19th, 2025 meeting. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes, and if so, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes from February 19th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve the minutes from the February 19th, 2025 meeting. Additional questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item tonight is a new I-Lines position, and our I-Lines manager, Seth Bird, will address the board. Hey, Seth.
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me? Okay. So telecom department, currently we have 2 employees, myself and a field technician. We service around 1,100 customers spread out through 14 tower locations in Boone County. And so what looking to do is requesting to add an additional field service technician, another technician who'd handle doing phone call support and doing field work for like installs, maintenance, and support. And this person would help keep us from having the desk empty and the phones not answered. Sometimes we're got too many jobs going, and so I have to go out in the office and do jobs as well, or I need to do infrastructure work and do say tower work or network maintenance at an admin level, and the other technician is out either repairing a customer or doing a new install, and so sometimes the office is empty for periods of time. Also, there's jobs that really are best done with 2 people, and sometimes it's hard to do and get those in while you also have requests maybe coming in to fix service for existing customers and you only got 2 employees. Also, when you come down to PTO between the 2 employees, you might have about 12 weeks of PTO between both of them. And when one person needs to be out because they've taken their vacation time or they're sick, you're left with one person in the office having to handle all the work, which sometimes is fine, but there's other times where they're handling it or they're handling it maybe in a manner that wouldn't be as well done or frankly even sometimes as safe as with having 2 people in the office or available at all times. Would also give me more time to spend focusing on IT department oversight and then also to handle more higher level network management improvements instead of spending a lot of my time doing what I would say is field network technician level jobs. So what we're requesting is that we add an additional field service technician job to the organization chart for telecom. And once that's added, then I could go about advertising and looking to hire another person, which would be a third total employee for the telecom department on there. Any questions?
Seth, are we still experiencing a small ongoing decrease in the number of customers?
I mean, yes, and this would say we're experiencing some of it's for moving. We are definitely getting some people that are moving. We unfortunately have a decent chunk of customers that are in the LEAP area. And so some of that we are losing to, they sold their properties and now as progress is being made on buildings and offices or whatnot, they're leaving. So we're losing customers to that. That's just unfortunately an unavoidable, circumstance from that project. And then others, we are losing some to some fiber providers that are deploying and kind of overbuilding in the area. They're using government rural development funds, so basically taxpayer funds to do build outs. So we're losing some to that. Not as much as I would think. In fact, I've had several customers, there's one today who I didn't ask, but they said, oh yeah, we're not going to switch. Just letting you know. Like, oh, okay. It's like, you guys have been good to us. They've had some customers as well in that area where they could get fiber with another company. They told the company that they're happy where they're at, and they said the company's been kind of shocked. Like, really? You're happy with what you have with this? Thinking that theirs is superior. In some ways it might be, but I feel that our customer service and our history of stability with the network and our localness, customers can get a hold of us, we're quick on our response times, is helping to mitigate some of those losses versus if we didn't do our job as well as we do it.
Yeah, I recognize we're having that, ongoing challenges of some degree. I also recognize that through your management, you have your budget in really good shape, in my opinion, and that your request could be fit within the budget without any problem.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts is, for some time I did hold off on, I tried to kind of keep it slim because we did have financial stuff, the loan that we needed to get repaid back. And since that's been done, I feel it's in my opinion, the department's best interest to not be running on such a shoestring as far as manpower and man hours, and maybe have a little bit more flexibility to handle things. And for example, just from a customer service side, I did the phone logs this year. And so far from January to March 7th, we have 103 unanswered tech support calls, meaning that the call came in, nobody was there to answer it, and went to voicemail. Now, the voicemail does ring our phones, and we get them in the field, so we're aware of them, but we're not always an opportunity to call back. But part of our customer service and what I think works for our customers is they usually call and they can get a hold of somebody live and talk to the person. And so we're having those issues. We had 34 unanswered calls for new service inquiries. I handled 84 calls, about 5 hours of calls. The field tech handled about 6 hours of calls that we answered live. I'm doing so far this year, I've done about 70 hours of field level technician work in the field, meaning I'm doing the work that, we have another employee who makes less than me, which is fine. But it's that level of work that I'm also out doing in the field, keeping me from doing other high level tasks that you're paying me to do on there. So I feel it's something we should look to do. And also historically, we sometimes have had problems keeping a person in that secondary position. And if a person leaves for whatever reason, whether they find the job's not for them or it just doesn't work out, we're left with one person handling all tech support, all service calls, all tower work, all purchasing, all sales, and overseeing IT while trying to hire somebody and train that person. And that can be really stressful and tough at times. So those are kind of my justifications or reasons I think it would be a good idea.
If I can add on to that, Seth is a really good employee, really good leader. He works very hard in a lot of after-hours calls, keeping it going. And it's been my strong opinion that he's been understaffed for a long time. I'd suggested to him over a year ago to maybe move this forward because of all the extra hours he works just keeping things going. What happens if somebody has a long illness? But or what happens if they have a long PTO and go on vacation or leave? But one of the reasons why he's bringing it forward now and hasn't done it before is we've had some turnover in the position as far as finding a good field tech that works for him. And so when you have an organization that's only 2 people and you make it 3 and both of them are trainees, that's impossible to manage. So now he's got someone he feels he can count on. He has somebody he can train. So I think probably the background of Aaron's question is you're declining in sales. Why add a personnel when you did fine with more before? Well, they were really stretched, and they did a good job stretching. But we kind of need that other person to keep us reliable.
Historically, back when I started about 17 years ago, we had maybe 300-400 customers, and some people were doing double duty in the telecom department of working for IT when it was in-house. We had 5 people. So, you went from 300 customers with 5 employees to over 1,000 with 2, and you've been running 2 for 7, 8+ years. I said, I just think it's time. So even though maybe our numbers are not growing as quickly as they were before, I think as Ed said, I think we were kind of running understaffed and getting away with it in a way for that time period.
I personally have no problem supporting this request.
Any other questions for Seth? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the addition of another field technician for the I-Lines Department.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to approve the addition of an additional field service technician for the I-Lines Department. Additional comments, questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, Seth.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, next item tonight, it's an action item as well. It's Resolution 2025-02. It's the recommending the establishment of a wastewater service rate district and rate and charges for the use and services provided by the wastewater works utility and to the LEAP district. And Jeff Jacobs not with us tonight, but Tony is here, and he's going to read this resolution for us.
To answer that, would you like Scott to answer questions? Or you like
Yeah, Scott, anyone have questions for Scott while he's here? He can certainly answer those before we read the resolution.
Scott, you just give us an overview of the pertinent rates and I'd appreciate it.
Be happy to. Scott Miller with Baker Tilly. If we could use the overhead projector, I can flash these up real quick. So the resolution is to recommend to the city council rates for wastewater rates for the LEAP district. We distributed a final rate study a couple weeks ago, I think it was. The resolution and the ordinance provide for an availability fee in the LEAP district, and that availability fee is proposed at $5,400 per EDU. The calculation of that is on the screen and is based on the cost of the facilities and capacity of the facilities themselves. In addition to that, we looked at the cost of the projects themselves, and we've got phase 1 and phase 2 that will follow. Phase 2 will follow right after phase 1 relatively quickly. So we're looking at in this initial rate taking care of both of those phases. Cost of the projects for phase 1 that will get financed this year, about $161,843,000. And then next year, following up with phase 2, we'll have another $155,134,000. Those will get financed through the IFA, similar to what was done in December for the water improvements at LEAP. As we look at the flow that will be out there at LEAP, initially with Lilly and Meta, Westler has been able to estimate for us based on that flow what is the expected operational cost of operating the facilities and the expanded plant and the collection system lines. We've got those costs here. So for phase 1, about $2,904,000, and then phase 2, $3,914,000. And so when we look at all that together, both the capital associated with repaying the bonds and then adding in the cost for operation, maintenance, and replacement, we come up with a rate that is higher than $6.50, but that's what's contained in the resolution and the ordinance, a proposed rate of $6.50 per 100 cubic feet. And then there'll also be a monthly base charge based on meter size. And how we get down to that level is this subtraction up here, less IDD discount. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation, just like they did on the water side, has agreed that we will be able to pledge a portion of the IDD Development District revenues that will come in. Those dollars will come in, they'll go to the master trust that is already set up for water. Wastewater will get added to it. Those dollars will flow into that master trust and be used to pay, help pay the debt service on both the water bonds and the wastewater bonds. So that's what we've got, $6.50 per 100 cubic feet. And then, as I said, a monthly base charge based on meter size. And that's where we're at this point on the rate ordinance. As we talked in the working group session, we'll be coming back in the future with a bond ordinance to go along with this proposal and continue to move forward so that we're ready to accept flow January 1 of 2027. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
All right, anyone have questions for Scott before we read the resolution?
Resolution 2025-02, a resolution recommending the establishment of a wastewater service rate district and rates and charges for the use and services provided by the wastewater works utility to the LEAP district. Where Indiana City owns and operates through its utility service board a municipal wastewater utility known as Lebanon Utilities, the utility, for the purpose of providing safe, reliable, and efficient wastewater utility services, the wastewater work system, in and around the city pursuant to Indiana Code 8-1-1.5 a sec, as amended, and other applicable provisions of Indiana law, collectively the Act. Whereas the Common Council for the City of Lebanon, City Council, based upon recommendations from the board, periodically evaluates and adjusts fees and charges to ensure sufficient revenue to cover the expenses of the utility, including the maintenance and expansion of the wastewater work system, in order to serve new customers and newly annexed areas and to improve the wastewater work system for existing ratepayers. Whereas the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, the IEDC, has established the Limitless Exploration Advanced Pace Research and Innovation District, the LEAP district, consisting of approximately 11,000 plus acres of real property within and proximate to the city. Whereas the LEAP district is defined in the description or depictions attached as Exhibit A and the legal descriptions attached as Exhibit B, and which may be further amended and described by the City Council. Whereas the city previously established a wastewater rate district under the City Lebanon Ordinance 20-23 to ensure equitable distribution of costs for wastewater services among current users within the city, the Civil Wastewater District. Whereas it has been determined that the LEAP district has distinct wastewater infrastructure needs, population density, wastewater capacity demand, and wastewater service delivery costs that necessitate the establishment of a new wastewater rate district separate from the Civil Wastewater District. Whereas in anticipation of the development of the LEAP district, the city, through the board water supply agreement with the Board of Directors, Department of Public Utilities for the City of Indianapolis, DBA Citizens Water Citizens, which provides that citizens will supply the utility with up to 25 million gallons per day of water service to the city and the LEAP district. Where cost from its engineering advisor for construction of infrastructure necessary to receive and treat any arising from the secondary source water from citizens. Whereas the existing rates and charges for services provided by the utility do not generate revenue sufficient to construct and maintain the wastewater work system for the LEAP district in a sound physical and financial condition. Therefore, their current rates and charges would not be reasonable within the meaning of IC section 8-1.5-3-8. Whereas the board has commissioned an analysis from its financial advisor, Baker Tilly, to determine in a reliable and efficient manner the appropriate rates and charges for the LEAP district, and revenue shall be collected from the respective users of the LEAP district. Whereas, based upon the finding of the Baker Tilly report, the board has adopted this resolution 2025-02 recommending the creation of a new wastewater rate district for the LEAP district, the LEAP wastewater district, and approval of the proposed rates and charges to the City Council as described in the attached Exhibit C ordinance. Whereas pursuant to the act, the city may by ordinance establish just and equitable fees for services rendered by the wastewater utility, including the establishment of rate districts and the collection of fees to ensure the operation. Whereas the utility has been exempted from the jurisdiction of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Now therefore be it resolved by the Utility Service Board of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, that it recommends the Common Council of Lebanon, Indiana, approve the creation of the LEAP wastewater district and adopt the proposed rates and charges as described in the Baker Tilly report as follows. And then following this, we have Exhibit A, which is the LEAP wastewater district depictions. We have Exhibit B, which is a LEAP wastewater district legal descriptions. And Exhibit.
Thank you, Tony. Questions on the resolution for Tony? Comments? If not, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-02, recommending the establishment of a wastewater service rate district and rates and charges for the use and services provided by the wastewater works utility to the LEAP district.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to approve Resolution 2025-02, recommending the establishment of a wastewater service rate district and rates and charges for the use and services provided by the wastewater works utility to the LEAP district. Additional discussion, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you both. We'll jump to item 7 tonight, which is the 2025 contribution to the defined benefit plan. And Sandra Morgan, our CFO, will address the board. Hey, Sandra.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm here today. I have a screen to pop up there, Gil, to discuss the funding of the defined benefit plan. And just a reminder to everyone, we actually froze that plan back in December of 2017. So anyone that was hired after that are just subject to the 401A and then the matching plans. But in February, we received our actuarial valuation report, and you can see that in front of you. And the results show that the minimum contribution is $372,835. We did share this report out with the Personnel Committee, and I think they are comfortable with that minimum amount. So we are recommending today that the board approve Lebanon Utilities to fund the plan a minimum of $372,835 for 2025, and that would be allocated appropriately between all the utilities.
Right. Thank you, Sandra. Any questions for Sandra on this DB plan? I know a lot of work's gone into that, and Sandra mentioned the freeze in 2017, which is when the new plan was created in order to alleviate some of the pressure the DB plan had on us. But any comments, questions?
I might make a comment that we did that and we contribute every year. And the reason that we do that is to make sure that we reduce the unfunded liability that we currently have on the DB program.
Correct. Good point.
And I might mention with that, to his point, the unfunded liability, January 1st, 2024, was $2,429,164. And January 1st, 2025, it's down to $2,098,786.
That is correct.
Stated a different way, we're well-funded in the plan for a $12 million plan. So we have 80x% funding. So just doing what is recommended for us and not going beyond that, we think is well-suited for this year's contribution.
That is true. I mean, it's still a lot of money for a small amount of people, but it is, we are funded.
Good shape. All right. Any other comments? All right. If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Lebanon Utilities fund the plan a minimum of $372,835 for 2025 to be allocated appropriately between all utilities.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim for approval of the funding of the DB plan at a minimum of $372,835 for 2025, allocated appropriately between all utilities. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Sandra. Looks like you're staying put for a second here for item 8. This is second quarter tracker.
Yep, on February 7th, 2025, we received our 2025 Quarter 2 electric tracker report from Cronin Associates. And I have a slide here to show you the differences between the second quarter and the second quarter. It looks like most of them did go up slightly. 2 of them went down. One of the things that I did here, just to show really, is on the difference it makes in a residential bill. So I used 900 kilowatts for an Indiana average bill. And based on the first quarter, the total bill would have been $112.10. And the only number that'll change is this line here where you see this as tracker. Based on the second quarter, that goes to $117.51, so a little over $5. But this report has been reviewed by myself, by Jeff Greeno, by the Finance Committee. So what we're looking for today is approval of the second quarter fuel adjustment tracker.
All right, questions for Sandra, comments?
So the tracker for this quarter has trended upwards, but there's been several times, numerous times in the past where it's trended down. And so I
Yes.
think it should be pointed out that the tracker does not always trend up, and sometimes it trends down.
Correct.
Yep, good point. Any other questions on the tracker for Sandra? Entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 2025 second quarter fuel tracker with an effective date of April, May, and June 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Tim to approve the second quarter 2025 tracker with an effective date of April, May, and June 2025. Any other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, looks like item 9 is the security guard renewal. We're going to table that item, so probably need a motion to table that.
Make a motion, we table item number 9, the office security guard renewal.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to table item 9 for the security renewal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that will be tabled. Next item number 10, Jeff Greeno, our electric operations manager, is here to address the board on the 2024 electric system conduit installation amendment number 1.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I got a couple contract cleanup issues I need to get approved from the board. The first one is a request to approve an amendment number 1 to the Lebanon Utilities 2024 electrical system conduit installation service agreement. It basically is something we need to retroactively approve so we can continue work with Barriott Incorporated. So I'd just like to ask the board to retroactively approve, and had to add some verbiage in here by the way of IC code 361416, the amendment to the 2024 system conduit installation service agreement to continue work with Barriott Incorporated for 2025. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Jeff, we discussed this before. I just wanted to add on to your explanation and tell me if I'm misremembering something. Is that we recently made a change to get out of the IURC where we're going to be doing less of these, but some of the conduit installations, a lot of this is going to be something that we don't need an agreement with Barriott to do.
Right.
Except on an individual basis. So this is just more of a cleanup because we could have just got another contract and went out for RFQ again, but we're just trying to clean up some issues here.
Yeah, this is only for 6 months, and it avoided having to go through an RFP process. And like what Ed was saying, we're getting all these backlog jobs cleaned up.
So once we're done with Barriott, then it goes to the developers to follow our processes and procedures for underground burial.
Well, if the grandfathered projects are not completed
Yeah.
by the time this is up, then what we'll do is I'll have to go out and get 3 quotes from different companies to complete the rest of them. So
Okay.
it's not a major issue.
All right, any other questions for Jeff? Don, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve the amendment to the 2024 electrical system conduit installation service agreement to continue work with Barriott for 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve the amendment to the 2024 electric system conduit installation service agreement for continued work with Barriott for 2025. Additional comments?
I have a question for legal counsel. Do we need to change this motion to correspond to what Jeff suggested in the retroactive language usage? Okay, thank you.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Jeff, staying put for a minute for another one of these. It's the 2024 electric system tree trimming amendment number 1.
Yes, I would just like to ask the board, this is another one of those contract cleanup issues I need to get approved. It's for an amendment to our 2024 electric system tree trimming agreement so we can continue work with My Tree Sons. My Tree Sons is doing a very good job of tree trimming. So I'd just like to ask the board to retroactively approve by the way of IC Code 361416, the amendment to the 2024 tree trimming service agreement to allow continuing services from My Tree Sons for 2025.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Questions for Jeff on this amendment?
I just want to, I guess, reaffirm what you just said. We do have a good working relationship with them.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
The initial contract provided for 2 one-year extensions. This would be the first of it at the same rates.
All right, any other questions? I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the amendment to the 2024 tree trimming service agreement to allow continuing from My Tree Sons for 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the amendment to 2024 tree trimming service agreement allowing continued business with My Tree Sons for 2025. Any additional comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks,
All right,
Jeff.
thank you.
All right, next item number 12 is the wholesale water construction inspection RFQ. And tonight we have Spencer Portish, our new water wastewater project manager, here to address this item and a few others tonight. Hey, Spence.
How are you? Good evening. So on 2/12 of 25, Lebanon Utilities sent a request of qualifications for construction inspections for the wholesale water phase 1. 4 firms with experience with either Lebanon Utilities, the city, or the county received this RFQ. 2 declined, and we had 2 submissions. An internal scoring committee was formed that consisted of Ed Baskell, Aaron Smith, Sandra Morgan, Ryan Ottinger, Matt Hutton, and myself. After reviewing both submissions, each committee member independently submitted a score sheet to Ryan. The committee then met on 2/26 to discuss and pick a firm. BF&S was chosen by all 6 members, and I would like to request that the board approve BF&S for the construction inspection of wholesale water phase 1. And if there are any questions, I will take those on this.
All right, thanks, Spencer. Questions, comments for Spencer on this RFQ? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to provide construction inspection for the wholesale water phase 1.
Second.
Motion made by Aaron, seconded by Tim to approve BF&S to provide construction inspection for the wholesale water phase 1. Additional questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Spencer, on to item 13. It's the Sugar Creek backwash tank cleanout.
Yes, sir. This request is for the approval of the backwash sludge removal at the Sugar Creek backwash holding tank. This is a requirement per the IDEM discharge permit that we hold. We received 2 quotes from 2 trusted vendors on this. I recommended choosing Eco Infrastructure Solutions. The cost is figured on a load per load basis. The amount of sludge is unknown due to this being a confined space. So that overall cost is not to exceed $50,000. This was figured in the budget. This item is in the 2025 Water Capital Addition, line item 10, facility rehab and improvements. And if you've got any questions, I'll take them. Other than that, I request for the approval of Eco Infrastructure Solutions to perform the sludge removal at the Sugar Creek backwash tank for the amount not to exceed $50,000.
All right, thank you. Questions for Spencer on this item? Not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Eco Infrastructure Service Solutions to perform sludge removal at the Sugar Creek backwash tank for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve Eco Infrastructure Solutions to perform sludge removal at the Sugar Creek backwash tank for an amount not to exceed $50,000. Additional questions for Spencer or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Spence, on to item 14, wastewater treatment plant expansion. It's geotech.
Yes, sir. This request is to approve the recommendation for Wessler Engineering to select Patriot Engineering and Environmental to prepare subsurface investigation and geotechnical recommendations for the wastewater treatment plant expansion. This process takes multiple soil borings, approximately 30 to 40 feet deep, to determine the soil conditions and the groundwater levels. This allows the proper constructions for tanks, equipment that belong or that will be below ground level, and also proper foundation depths. This is budgeted under the wastewater bond. So I would request for the approval of Wessler Engineering's recommendation of Patriot Engineering and Environmental to conduct the subsurface investigation and geotechnical recommendations for the wastewater treatment plant expansion. This item is $50,450.
All right. Questions for Spencer on this geotech wastewater treatment plant expansion? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve Wessler Engineering's recommendation of Patriot Engineering and Environmental to conduct the subsurface investigation and geotechnical recommendation for the wastewater treatment plant expansion in an amount of $50,450.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve Wessler Engineering's recommendation of Patriot Engineering and Environmental to conduct the subsurface investigation and geotechnical recommendation for the wastewater treatment plant expansion for an amount of $50,450. Any additional comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Spencer, the Abner Longley water storage tank final change order.
Yes, this should be a pretty good one. This request is for the approval of Abner Longley Water Storage Facility Change Order Number 1 from Bowen Engineering. This change order will return $103,209.79 to Lebanon Utilities, reducing the guaranteed maximum price to $5,888,240.21. Lebanon Utilities also used part of this savings to complete the Elmwood Bridge water main project in 2024, and this will be the final cost on this project. So Overall, I'd like to request the approval of Bowen Engineering's change order number 1 for the amount to be returned to Lebanon Utilities of $103,209.79.
Feeling okay?
Wonderful.
Sounds like you said returning money to us.
That's right. I told you this would be an easy one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right, questions for Spencer on this return of funds to the utilities from Bowen for an amount of $103,209.79?
See, the savings that were applied to the Elmwood Bridge Water Main Project,
Correct.
is that part of the 103 or would that be in addition to the 103?
That was already used. I believe that savings was used prior to this change order.
So it's an addition,
the
so we
total
have
number,
even more savings?
yes, sir. And
Okay.
we were able to use that.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve Bowen Engineering change order number 1 for an amount to be returned to Lebanon Utilities of $103,209.79.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill for approval for a return of $103,209.79 from Bowen Engineering for the Abner Longley Water Storage Tank final change order. Any additional comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item is the wholesale water contractor selection, and this is item 16. Spencer?
Sir, this request is for the approval of the Wholesale Water Supply Program Phase 1 BOT contractor recommendations. The BF&S recommendations was submitted via Govinda. I can go into a little bit more detail on that if you'd like, but I believe you've read that and have had the opportunity to read that. But overall, I would like to request that the board approve the tentative selection of Kokosing Industrial based upon the scoring committee's recommendation for the BOT development services for the Wholesale Water Supply Program Phase 1 and permission to advertise for the BOT public hearing to confirm this selection.
All right, questions for Spencer on this wholesale water contractor selection? As he mentioned, there was a scoring committee, and it's still subject to the BOT public hearing.
Yeah, I just had a comment, really. Not a question. I just thought we had some very good proposals, very strong proposals. It was a very tight selection, but I think we made the right choice, and it's just looking forward to moving this project ahead.
My impression is that the scoring committee had a big job and spent a good bit of time looking at this in great detail, and I just want to thank them for their effort. Who was on that scoring committee?
Well, Ed, can you recall?
Yes, it was.
I think that gets it. Then.
Oh,
There you go. No, you're right. You're good. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm an engineer and I can't work the buttons. All right. There was, let's see, that Neil Taylor, our board chairman, Tim Hudson, myself, the mayor, Kevin Krulik, and we had several advisors. Ryan Ottinger was an advisor. Spencer was an advisor, and Sandra Morgan was an advisor, and
Dick Robertson from City
Dick
Council
Robertson.
was
Yes, I
also.
knew I was forgetting someone. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, other comments, questions?
I personally want to thank the city's participation for such a large contract, to ask the mayor, a council person, and the city engineer to participate with us. We were asking a lot for them. We did meet quite a bit. We interviewed 4 of the contractors for this project, and they spent a significant amount of time, and I think we arrived at a really nice decision after multiple conversations and many back and forth. So I think we're at a really good spot. So now we can move forward with development and try to get a contract in place and get some pipe laid and some tanks built and water tower built.
Right, anything else? I've entertained a motion.
I move to approve the tentative selection of Kokosing Industrial based on the scoring committee's recommendation for BOT development services for wholesale water supply program phase 1 and permission to advertise for the BOT public hearing to confirm this selection.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to approve the tentative selection of Kokosing Industrial based on the scoring committee's recommendation for BOT development services for wholesale water supply program phase 1 and permission to advertise for the BOT public hearing to confirm this selection. Additional comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have a couple of different claims, payrolls, and transfers to approve. First one is for March 12th. Everyone had a chance to review those items, and if so, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the claims payroll transfers dated March 12th, 2025 in the amount of $1,253,589.42 for claims and payroll and $8,545,190.39 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve the claims, payrolls, transfers dated March 12th, 2025. Additional comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we have the approval of the claims, payrolls, transfers for March 19th, 2025. Everyone reviewed those, and if so, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the claims payroll transfers dated March 19th, 2025 in the amount of $2,928,379.26 for claims and payroll and $2,175,195.58 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the claims, payrolls, transfers dated March 19th, 2025. Additional questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, anyone from the board have any additional business tonight? Ed? Anything?
Just one thing, just want to say thanks to Spencer for standing up for Ryan's out of town today. He'll be back next time, but appreciate his brevity and go from there.
All right, we offer public comment again at the end of the meeting. Anyone have comments that they'd like to make? All right, looks like we're scheduled for April 9th, 5 p.m. for our next meeting. And if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So you want to give one more opportunity for public comment?
Yeah, I did that.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
I've done the same
Very
thing.
good.
Yeah. You want to go out and find somebody to comment?
Move to adjourn.
I'm sorry.
We got a motion from Ann to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Bill. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.